220?
Yeah, I was 200 last year.
Obviously, we haven't talked to you since before that Rutgers game. Can you fill us in on what happened and when you knew that that season was over?
I actually didn't know. Like, it was kind of one of those things where I believe it happened earlier in the game, and my knee kind of felt kind of funny. And just being a ball player, I was just like, yeah, whatever. So I went back in, and it kind of progressively got like weaker, maybe like unstable kind of. It's kind of the feeling that I had. And then I did that. They did the ACL test, and that's kind of like what determined like come out of the game. And yeah.
Was it your first time ever having an injury like that, where you had to miss extended time?
Yeah, I've never really had an injury that I couldn't play through, so that was the first time I really could not play through an injury.
You mentioned earlier in the game, there was a play like 3 plays earlier where you're on the sideline. That was Is that where you?
That's where I kind of felt like it was kind of like unstable-ish kind of, and then that next play kind of when I knew something was wrong.
What was the official diagnosis? Did they?
Tore my ACL, just ACL.
How much are you able to do right now, and what percent would you say you're at?
I actually been running, so I would say I'm probably by 60 maybe.
Is it hope to be ready for fall camp?
Yeah, my goal is to be available September 3rd, so that's the plan.
So you think your next season's not going to be impacted at all by this?
No.
In terms of
I don't think so, especially at the rate that I'm going. So,
have you talked to guys who have gone through an ACL? Because over the years, some guys come back really quickly and fine. Other guys, it takes them a little while.
I actually contacted a receiver from Clemson named Amari Rogers. He came back from an ACL, I think like 5.5, 6 months. And, I kind of wanted to know what he did and what like his regimen was. So, he told me the things that he did, and I was really interested in learning from him about that.
which one was it?
It was my left.
As you mentioned, and had injury, had missed a significant time. Just emotionally, what was that like for you, kind of going through that for the first time in your career?
I'd say like the first week was pretty tough. Like that diagnosis, and then like after a little while, I stopped feeling sorry for myself. I kind of figured out this is how I'm gonna attack this situation, and I just went from there.
You said you're 220 now and we're 200 last season.
During the season, I was playing around like 205, 200.
How have you, what was their routine like to put on that kind of?
Like I said, from that week where I figured out, I tore my ACL, I had the surgery, and then from I think 3 days after surgery, I got in the weight room. I kind of channeled all that frustration and all the things I was kind of going through, and just put it in the weight room, honestly.
When you were watching, because once you went down, they had to really rely on her. And I'm guessing you probably looked at the Illinois and Purdue games where you guys were a good tandem. Do you envision that again?
Absolutely.
No matter who's starting or who's a reserve, that you two guys can really carry the offense out.
Yeah, I continue to feel that way. After I went down, I knew he was going to do what he was going to do, even when I went down. He just had a bigger load. I'm just excited to be available for this team and help the team win.
What are your first impressions of Al? I know he's new, but what do you think?
I'm just happy he's around. I want Coach Brown first off to get his health back, and I love him. But Coach Al, he's an O-lineman here, so he kind of brings that grit that Wisconsin was kind of founded on. I'm just eager to learn from him.
When it comes to the recovery process, just what have you been doing to get back up to that? You said the 60%. What's been kind of the routine to get back?
Honestly, especially with the ACL thing, it's day by day. Some days it feels great. Sometimes you get kind of sore, and I just kind of harp on just attacking the day one day at a time. Sometimes it feels great, sometimes it feels sore. And, it's just one of those things day by day.
What made you realize that you needed to gain the weight? Was there anything during last season that made you realize you needed to be a little bit stronger or anything like that?
Kind of. I think I played fairly bigger than 200, 205 last year. Especially now, this is my first time really being a lot bigger. And I didn't even really intend on gaining weight. I just this is my first real off season in college, I would say, because my freshman year, the off season COVID happened, and then the next year I transferred, so I didn't really get an off season ever in college. So this is my first time really actually being able to work out in the off season in the college football program. So I'm able to put on a bunch of weight.
What are you doing this spring? You can't do the drills this spring. So what's your routine been like, or going to be like this next few weeks?
Well, I work out before practice, and then I come and I watch practice. I harp on just getting the script, learning the plays, and just encouraging the guys. Because it's just important that they have a really good spring. Because when fall camp comes, we need to have a steady backfield, honestly.
You mentioned Coach Brown. I know everyone I talked to, said he was really good with you guys, good with the staff. Has it been difficult for you guys to deal with his absence and what he's going through?
I mean, it's been difficult, because I probably wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for Coach Brown. So, it was difficult for me, especially, but the most important thing is his health. He has to get his health the right way, and, as sad as it is, that's the most important thing is his health. So.
If it's okay to ask, when was the surgery? Did you have surgery?
I had surgery November 24th.
Thanks, Justin.
Play through it at all, knowing that it could injure you?
I mean, I was pretty upset about it at first, but going into that week against Penn State, I didn't really care. I was like, whatever I need to do to play this game, I need to play. So I knew I wasn't 100%, but I knew that if I played, I'd play well. It just I wasn't my normal self.
I'm assuming that persisted throughout the year, like you said. I mean,
it never really got better because I never let it get better. So I didn't want to miss games. So that was kind of one of those things.
Would that have been the only way for it to get better, is basically to sit?
Right, and that wasn't an option for me.
So, apologies for coming
you're
late,
good.
man. Always funny. You had a hamstring injury. When was that?
It was like fall camp, like the last week of fall camp.
Of course.
Yeah.
Honestly, you gotta love how that happens. When it comes to, with rapport with Coach Johnson, with Al, how have you? I know it's been less than 2 weeks since he was really hired, right?
Yeah.
How have you seen the kind of rapport between you and the backs and him so much? With such little time and trying to work together.
Yeah, I honestly I think he's done a great job of coming in and kind of it feels like he's been here. Like you said, he's only been here for 2 weeks, but it kind of feels like he's been here for a while now. We're going through spring, and each practice, each meeting, we've kind of getting closer and closer. So I'm just grateful that he's around and giving us information.